Mr. Kafoury.
Yeah, thank you. I'm Jason Kafoury. I'm an attorney law firm of Kafoury and McDougall, and I represented the Hoffmeisters in their civil action against Clackamas County Sheriff's Department. We're not here today to badmouth the Clackamas County Sheriff's Department, even though they did an absolutely horrible job of dealing with the Jeffrey Grahn situation. We would like to take this tragedy and be able to save lives. Let's start with the problem. Domestic violence amongst police officers is 2 to 4 times higher than in the general population. I brought you an article from The Atlantic, a big in-depth article. It's higher than in the NFL. Domestic violence amongst police officers higher than amongst the National Football League. So the problem is real. We know it's documented. So the question is, what are we going to do about it as a community and society? With the state of Washington, our neighbors had a similar tragedy back in early 2000s. Chief of a police, Chief Brame, murdered his wife and then I believe murdered himself, right? And similar situation. There was evidence that they could have done something to help the chief, and they didn't. Well, you know what the state of Washington did? They didn't sit around and wait for years to do something. That very next legislative cycle, they built a coalition of groups, domestic violence groups, and they passed what is now the best bill in the entire country involving domestic violence. It is a model, in fact, for the country. They passed it in 2004. They had the governor behind it. And what that bill requires is that once an officer has an allegation of domestic violence, they must be taken off duty, surrender their firearm, and an investigation is required to be done by an outside agency. Now, in this bill that we're proposing here, we're not even coming up with the framework here. We're just trying to start the process, and we came up with the idea of having DPSST, since they certify police officers, come up with that model plan, and we'd like to work together with them to do that. But the state of Washington did it right. They created a model. This is not a problem that just exists within our region. This is a national problem. And I brought in the International Association of Police Chiefs have come up with a model bill. In fact, that's what Brame bill was based on, was what the International Association of Police Chiefs came up with. So this is a problem that police chiefs around the country understand, they want to do something about, but frankly, the police unions and their lobby is pretty strong. And that's why, we started this process 2 years ago after the civil case resolved, to try to get something done here at the legislature to fix the problem. We talked to the various entities representing the police unions and the police chiefs. They had some general agreement that it's a problem, but as we've seen, nothing has changed. Still to this day, Clackamas County Sheriff's Department has not adopted a formal plan that is in writing of how to deal with allegations of domestic violence. The Grahn situation happened 7 years ago, 2010, and nothing has changed. So the reality is that, and they point out a couple of the egregious facts in the Grahn investigation. The one really serious thing that happened, there was a whole bunch of serious things, but the Clackamas County Sheriff's internal affairs, the head of internal affairs, met with the Portland police to start a domestic violence allegation. The Portland police had put together 30 pages of allegations, very detailed, from Charlotte Grahn's sister and from some of the other family members. And it was, I won't even go into all the details of it, but it was really ugly stuff, and it was documented. And the Portland police told the Clackamas County Sheriff's internal affairs head, Phelan. They said to Phelan, what we do in Portland is we work with the district attorney while we're developing probable cause for domestic violence. And there's a memo that was written after the death where Sergeant Bonson of the Portland police said, Phelan said not once but twice, no, don't do that here. Don't bring in the Clackamas County district attorney. That was as big of a smoking gun as you could have, that Clackamas County Sheriff's Department was not taking these allegations seriously. And as we've learned, when you enable someone who does domestic violence, when you turn the other cheek and don't do anything about it, it ratchets up. It's the same problem we've seen over and over again throughout history. And that's what happened in this terrible tragedy, and these family members will have to live with that tragedy for the rest of their lives. What I would like to work here with the legislature on is to get some people, not just Representative Peluso, who are passionate about this, who want to help us next session. I realize we're not going to be able to get something done this session, but I think we need to put together a bigger team of people to work on this, both House and Senate, to make their tragedy and all the other families that have lost loved ones something that we can prevent down the road by coming up with this model plan so that when there's an allegation of domestic violence, there are serious repercussions, and that person who's doing it, the perpetrator, knows that their police force has an outside entity that's going to investigate. I think it will save a lot of lives, and the power is obviously in your hands. As we've seen, the police chiefs around the state have not implemented model policies on their own. So thank you for your time.
Thank you. Joel?